Hey all, Lawrence from Express Unity here, and today we are going to be doing something a little bit different. Now, I am still going to be continuing the multiplayer FPS tutorial series, but in between that, I figured that I want to do some smaller sub-series on how to teach you guys on creating smaller elements for games that we can later add to a multiplayer game, for example, our multiplayer FPS. So in this tutorial, to start off with, I'm going to teach you guys how we can make a modular door system. Now by modular, what I mean is basically we can put a door in, we can put some triggers down, and depending on the trigger, the door will open or close. Depending on the state of the trigger, it'll stay open if you stay on it or off it. Then we can do some other stuff like button clicks and stuff. Yeah, so for this tutorial, I've imported the standard assets package from Unity, and that is just simply so that I can use the rigid body character controller without needing to program my own. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a plane down. I'm gonna make it just a tad bigger, and I've already created a few materials here, so I'm just gonna grab my ground material, and it's like some grass color, and the frame, I'm gonna adjust it a little bit. So basically what we're gonna do is create a door. You can model your own, but I'm just gonna use the basic models or cubes in Unity. So I'm just going to make a door, maybe like that. Looks pretty good. And if you want to just see how the size is, let's go ahead in our standard assets that we imported. I'm gonna search for the first person controller, the folder, and we get prefabs, and I'm going to use the rigid body FPS controller. I'm just gonna drag that in the scene. And I'm just gonna make sure that he is standing correctly. And I'm going to scale the door down just a tad, like so. Alright, so if we just play this, we should be able to just walk around. Door is a decent scale. You can mess with that later on. We're also going to just want to delete that camera. I'm just going to quickly save this as the current sample scene. No big deal here. Alright, so now I'm going to just call this door, and I'm gonna call it door graphic, because this is gonna be basically just our collider and our graphic. We don't really want it to be anything else. But before we do anything else, I'm gonna go ahead and create, well, I'm gonna copy and paste rather. I'm just gonna call it frame, and we're just gonna scale this in a way that will just fit the outside of the door. No big deal how neat it is. I'm just going to roughly do this. You guys can make it all nice and pretty, or even model your own door. No big deal. I'm basically just showing you how we can make a pretty easy modular door type of system. So here we go, I've got that, and now I'm going to just drag this frame material that I created to those pieces. And I'm also going to scale the door on the Z just a little bit, so we don't get any of the texture flicker. Maybe even a bit more might look nicer, so that you actually see the shadowing of the door. So yeah, that looks good. Nice little door. We'll just drag the door. Oh, actually no, the door is down. There's just a little bit of a lighting error here, it seems. It's kind of weird, but we'll deal with it. Alright, so now what we want to do, I'm going to just create an empty game object within the door graphic, and I'm then going to move it outside the door graphic, and you'll see that it's placed perfectly in the center of the door graphic. I'm then going to parent the door graphic onto that new empty game object, and I'm going to position the graphic in a way that the game object's origin is just to the side of it. So, for example, if we rotate this door right now, you'll see it rotates from the center. That's not what we want. So if we move the graphic somewhere to around the center and then go back to the main parent, you'll see that the main parent's position is still there. So let's just keep adjusting it till it's around the center. I think around there. Maybe just a touch more. That could be pretty spot on. Yeah. So now if we rotate this, the door actually rotates from basically where the hinge is. So I'm then going to move that main object over to the side here. Be a little bit more. So now when we rotate this object, it'll rotate from the frame. And that's really good. That's what we want. So I'm going to just call this object door. And I'm going to call this frame as well. And I'm just going to parent all of these into that frame. Like so. Excuse me. So now, we want to create a scripts folder. Like so. And we're going to create 2 scripts. So, we create a script called door. Yeah, called door. And another script called... did it not work? There it is. Whoop, okay, something weird happened. Alright, I'm just gonna close out of that. We don't need that. Yeah, door, and then another one called... Oh goodness, what is happening? Okay. And another one called door event. Yeah. Cool. So let's open up the door script. And then I'm also going to open up the door event script. Cool. So we're going to do some things here which I don't think I've shown in any of my other tutorials, or maybe I have, I can't quite remember. But we're going to create some system events. So in the door event, I'm actually going to create a public event of type system.action. And this action is going to be collider. And this is going to be called on door enter trigger. And then I'm going to create another one that is on door exit trigger. Now we want to create some void on trigger enter, and then we also want on trigger exit. So on trigger exit, we actually want to call the on trigger enter, we want to call the on door trigger, and we want to pass it our other. And the same for our on trigger exit. So on door exit, then we pass, oops, what? Then we pass other. Awesome. So now, now that's basically a basic system right there. So we can now go to the door script, and we want to make a public door event, and this is just going to be called, let's call it door event. And so in the start function, what I want to do is actually assign the actions that we just created. So door event dot on door enter. If we simply do plus equal and double tap tab, it'll auto generate the code we need. And then we want to do exit, so door event dot on door exit, and then plus equals double tap tab, auto generates our code like so. And just for my own sake, I want the enter to be first, then exit, and then I want the void update to be above all of that. That's just my own preference. You can have the code however you want. Alright, so now we want to do a few things. We want to create a private quaternium. We're just going to call it starting rotation. And then I'm going to create a private, this could be public. You could make this vector public, but for now I'm just going to make it private. So we're going to make a private vector 3, and I'm going to call this rotate 2. Not really sure what to call that one. So the starting rotation is going to be equal to GameObject.transform.rotation, and then the rotate 2 is going to be equal to new vector 3, and I believe the vector we want is the Z, so we'll give it 90 on the Z. Alright, so for now what we want to do is on door enter trigger, let's go ahead and say GameObject.transform.rotation equals quaternium dot Ilua. Can't say that word. Forgive me. Ula? Yep. It's not coming out today. Yeah, so we want to pass in the rotate 2 through here. Now on exit, we basically just want to return it back to its original rotation, and that will be starting rotation. So this should all work. So if we go back here, we want to add the door component. Oh, one thing we forgot to do actually is in the door event, we want to make a public string, and we'll call this activate tag. For now, default, I'm just going to set it to player, and basically we're just going to say if other dot tag is equal to activate tag, then we're going to run whatever's inside of here, and we're going to do the same on the exit. This way we can actually have the triggers activate with different objects, not just everything. We could also have this be an array, so it activates with X amount of objects rather than just one tag, but for now we'll just do this. So let's go ahead and add what we need. So our door script actually wants a door event. So once it's compiled, I think it's compiled, yep. So what we want to do is, for now, I'm just going to create a cube, and I'm gonna move it to 0, 0, and 0. I'm then going to just move it to around where the door is, maybe back a bit. And we're gonna add a door event to this cube. And it's already got player because we tagged it. The last thing we need to do is actually tag our controller to player. So now if we play this and we walk onto, oh, we've got a bit of an error here. 13. Oh, door event. Yeah. So now we want to actually drag the cube in with the door event onto that. So I'm just going to call this door event. So we'll just play that. Now, if we move on this cube, the door should open. Oh, sorry. One last thing. We want to make sure that the box collider on the event is set to trigger. We can also disable the mesh renderer later because we just want it to be the zone. We don't need any visuals for this. So now, if I walk over it, the door opens. Got the angle wrong, but the door opens. If I get off it, it goes back to its original position. So let's do maybe 90 on the Y. The rotational axis on this is a little bit confusing sometimes. Even for me, sometimes it's like, wait, is that really it? Anyway, there we go. So that opens. Only problem now is if we get off it, well, the door closes. And this is one thing, like we could leave this like this, right? We could actually have a zone area around the door. So maybe say starting from here, over here. So when the player is near the door will actually open. And then when he leaves it, the door will close. So that's something that we want to keep. But we also want kind of like a toggle. So in the door event, let's go ahead and create a public bool. Let's call this make toggle, and we'll set it to true. And then we'll set another one to what do I set it to? We want to make it a private, and we'll just call it, it's a type bool again, we'll call it local, yeah, we'll just call it local toggle, and we'll set that to true. Alright, so, actually rather we want to set it to false. So then on trigger enter, we want to say local toggle equals the opposite of local toggle. Like so. Sorry, done this the wrong way. I'm gonna say equal the opposite, like that. So now this will toggle every time this runs, but we also don't want this to toggle if make toggle is set to false. So basically we just want to say if make toggle, then we want to do this. We then want to create a void update, and we're going to create a new system action. So let's create a public event system.action. This action is going to be of type bool, and we're just going to say we're just going to call it toggle update. So now we want to call toggle update within that, and we're going to pass in the local toggle, but we also don't want to make this run if make toggle is equal to false. So we'll do that like so. Awesome. So now what we can do is assign that new update toggle the door event dot update, or toggle update rather, like so. And then we can just say if object or else, and of course you can name this whatever you want, but for now, if object is true, then we want to rotate to the new rotation. Otherwise we don't want to do that. And why is that there? We want to remove that. Alrighty. So another thing we want to do is, so we don't want to run the ondoor enter if make toggle is true, and the same for over here, except we don't have anything else that we want to run, so we'll just do that. So this should work, hopefully. I think it should work. Let's go ahead and give it a try. So let's just move the event out of the door around here, or maybe we'll do it over here. Make toggle is already checked, so the door should stay open once we enter. Nope, we've got a reference error. Oh, wait, is that from now or is that from before? Have a quick look. Okay. So let's see. So oh, sorry. We want to run the toggle update if it's true, not if it's false. So that could be a problem. So let's just go on here. Okay, door opens. If we get off it, okay, the door stays open. If we go back on it, the door closes. If we get off it, the door is still closed. On, still opened. We go through it. We can close the door. We can't go through it anymore. Go back on it. Okay. Now if we go and change the door event, make toggle and turn that off, we go on it, door opens. If we go off it, the door closes. So let's make two different types of doors here. Let's make one that will activate when you're near it, like this one here. So I'm going to copy and paste all of this. I'm going to move it aside. So this second door, I want to make a toggle. And I want to drag that event there. And we'll move it over here. So we have two types of doors here. One that will stay open and stay closed on the toggle, and one that should open and close depending on if you're on kind of like a pressure plate. So we're on the hypothetical pressure plate. We're now off it. On it, we can walk through it, we're off it. On it, walk through, off it. Now over here, if we get on it and get off it, the door stays open. If we get on it, door is closed, stays closed. Awesome. So that's basically it for our very simple door tutorial. When yeah, you could do heaps of things with this. Basically, I've taught you guys now how to use system actions to basically listen for events on other objects. So these allow the actual door component to listen to those objects within the script. So this on enter trigger that we're listening to on the door is actually just the on trigger enter from Unity's default code base. So that's all cool. Everything works. And then basically later on in our multiplayer FPS tutorial, when we get to like buildings and stuff, I will show you guys how we can implement some of these scripts that I make multiplayer side on our multiplayer game. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Something different. I want to try different things out. And yeah, we are still going to be implementing stuff like this. We're not going to be implementing all of this stuff into the multiplayer game because I'm not planning to make it super big because it would literally take me years to show everything. But I want to show enough to get you guys rolling on how to make your own multiplayer game, make your own systems like this, because this is a very modular door system. Got a door event, got the door. You know, you can expand this however you like. You can even make it so it slides up or down. You can make it lerp. You can add your own things. You could even make it so it triggers an animation. So all of this, so it can slide like that or close like that. So animations are probably the easiest way for doors. You can do so much stuff with system actions and events. So yeah, again, hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial. Please, if you did like it, subscribe to the channel. It helps me out a great deal. And remember, if you guys need help or anything like that, I do have a Discord server up. And it is much faster to just talk to me through the Discord server rather than waiting for a reply for me on the comments. But regardless, if you do want to see something similar to this tutorial, whether it's some other little mechanic, you know, just leave it down in the comments what you want to see. Or again, just join the Discord server and message it in the Discord server. I'm happy with either one. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next tutorial.